I did want to go back to Real World Austin, because the Real World, I mean, that was the first reality show ever, and so many people were so hooked on that. What was your casting process like? Can you go through that?
Yeah, I came back. I was out drinking with some friends, and I struck out with women, and because I wasn't an international sex symbol yet, and I came back alone to our fraternity house, and I was about to go to sleep. It was a school night, and there was a really pretty girl at our house, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I got one more shot. So I went out and I started spitting game, and everything was going really well, and I thought that I was going to score, and then she says very politely, she's like, I've got to go home because I've got to get some sleep because I'm trying out for the real world the next day. And I said, funny enough, so am I. And so, what I think we should do is we should stay up all night long. We should drink the entire time and show up drunk to the tryout and then tell them the story. They'll love that. And she agreed with that strategy. So we did exactly that. And the rest is history.
Oh, so it all started with, just a random girl you saw on campus.
Yes.
That's how Wes Bergmann came to life in the MTV world. Yeah, you never know. That's crazy how that all pans out sometimes. I was gonna see. I've talked to a couple. I talked to Danny Boatwright, who's also from Kansas City. She was 29 when she won Survivor, and I've talked to Adam Pock. He was, I don't know if you know who he is. He was on season 13 of Big Brother. He was 39 and he was a finalist. But you were 19, if I'm not mistaken, when you did the Real World. Can you talk about, like, was there like this massive, like, holy shit, my life is so different, as soon as the first episode aired? Because I've always heard stories that, you guys cannot even go to grocery stores without getting stopped by just about everyone in the store.
Yeah, it kind of clicked over pretty darn fast. I mean, it wasn't all that subtle of a transition. It was kind of like, yeah, it kind of happened really quickly. And but I mean, I can go to grocery stores, and also, like, I like to think that I put out a very respectful, if you want to come up and say hi, I will be very nice. I'll take a picture and it'll be a good experience. But I also kind of have a little bit of a vibe of, hey, I'm at the grocery store. Like, if you really, really want to meet me, come up. But I'm also not like wearing loud colors. I kind of wear a hat. I've got a beard. I've kind of got a little bit of a vibe of, I am on the challenge because I love the game. I love, and not for the popularity that comes from it. It's just, there are perks to it, but then there's also drawbacks where, I just really love the game that I get to continually play.
I'm sure you've seen, and I've seen you comment about this before, the Real World Homecoming seasons. I haven't seen many Real World seasons, but I did watch seasons 1 and 2 just so I could watch the Homecoming seasons. And I've got to say, I mean, those were very well done.
Yeah.
I know they're going to season 8 now for the Homecoming on Paramount Plus. I'm curious. I know Nehemiah and Melinda, who just did a All Stars 2. They were doing an Instagram live. They said they would both be down to do a Real World Austin reunion for Homecoming. Is that something you'd be down for?
We all would. We're just way busier than they made it sound. And so I'm glad that they did that. I want the world to know that we would do it, but like, even there, she's a mom that just left to film a show, so she spent a lot of time away. Nehemiah works in Kansas City now, so he moved here to work kind of with me. And I'm telling you, he can leave, but it's not as easy as he wants to be. I mean, he's leaving for a long time. Then it's not easy for me. I've left 4 times this year. And then we've got another cast member that works for Harvard, another one who's a journalist across the pond. We've got one that owns 2 hair salons. Like, these are busy people and busy parents, and MTV does an incredibly piss poor job of giving us notice. But we are a very viable candidate that would crush it. I mean, I mean, crazy entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it'd be really cool. I know I think all of you guys are fairly active on social media, except for Danny. I know some people have their opinions. I've actually found Danny to be an interesting character. Do you guys still keep in touch at all? Because he seems like he's the one from the cast that's just kind of not out there. Like no one knows what's going on with him.
Yeah, he's a custom home builder in upstate Massachusetts, and he's crushing life. Also, going to be very difficult from a scheduling standpoint. Um, he just makes a very mindful decision that he doesn't want to be on social media because it doesn't add any value to his life. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. And sometimes I'm a little jealous. But you know, he's a prime example of why we would be a perfect homecoming, because you've got guys like me who've been very slutty and very relevant right up until like what, let's say we film tomorrow, everyone knows who I am, but it'd be funny to see me in a different world. Then on the other end of the spectrum, we've got guys who aren't even on social media, but were huge. I mean, he was a much bigger deal than I was on our original season. So you've got essentially the main character, as far as I'm concerned, that no one's seen for a long time. And so you get the nostalgia, you get to see where he's at, you get to see him interact with his ex-wife, and have no idea where he's been at or what he even looks like. And you know, as I've talked to him on the phone a handful of times, even in the last 6 months, and he's just as passionate and entertaining of a man as he ever has been. And he would be, I bet he would end up being the star of the show again.
That'd be really interesting to see. I mean, listen, I've only seen 4 seasons of The Real World. I'll definitely want to check out a few others. I did have one question on Battle of the Seasons. Obviously, it was you, Lacey, Melinda, and Danny. There have been a lot of rumors that they were trying to make it Danny and Melinda, and then you and Johanna also. Do you know if there's any truth to that for Battle of the Seasons?
I don't know, but probably. I mean, yeah, probably. I bet they called her, and I bet she said no. She wanted to move on, and she should move on. She wasn't built for this stuff, and she had she continued to represent herself poorly, to say the least, and so it was time for her to move on. But I bet, I mean, she was an incredibly important character, and then to watch 2 exes compete in one 4-person team would have been very entertaining. So, but I don't know. I guess I never asked. I was really happy that Lacey got the opportunity to see what the challenge was all about, and she
that was pretty cool.
She did 10 times better than I thought she was going to, and she enjoyed herself, and she leaned into the heights things and stuff. I'm incredibly proud of her for that. But at the end of the day, like in 2022, we are wrestling and fighting and running ultra marathons and jumping off cliffs and out of helicopters, and you have got to be a cutthroat quasi sociopath to even get through it and halfway enjoy yourself. And so it's not for everybody anymore.
Well, you mentioned all of that, and I mean, the challenges certainly have gotten harder, and I've heard you even mention that on another podcast once before. Melinda, she just ran her first final, which is pretty impressive. What'd you think of Melinda and Nehemiah this past season?
I was very proud of both of them, and as far as like Melinda's concerned, well, I mean, they both have a similar story. They took this very seriously. They knew that they were going to Nehemiah just got in shape, and Melinda has stayed in shape. And as you can tell, they both are beautiful humans, and they worked really well together, and they're like a brother and a sister to me. So to watch them kind of compete side by side was, I loved it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. I was hoping they would show like real world Austin flashbacks, but they didn't until like the last 2 minutes of the final episode. I was kind of bummed out. I was hoping to see more of that.
At least there was one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could use some more Austin flashbacks.